is celebrated nationally as Pride Month, and San Diego has a nonprofit doing some important work to help mentor foster youth explore their culture and identity.
Joining us in studio are Brandy Harvey and Freddie Garcia from Promsies2Kids. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming into the Fox5 studios. Freddie, let's start with you. Talk to us about this organization and what you guys do.
Okay, so Promsies2Kids is a local nonprofit. We help former and current foster youth basically try to help, realize their dreams, their goals, think about what for the future and what they can do with themselves, with their lives, and just kind of push them forward.
And Brady, you are a Guardian Scholar, part of this Guardian Scholars program. Tell us what that is, how it works, and how kids are affected by that.
Yeah, the Guardian Scholars program is a program for former foster youth that are looking to pursue educational and career goals. And it's made a huge impact on me as I've went through my college journey. I actually just graduated with my associates, and now I'm going to UCSD with their help.
Wonderful, congratulations.
It's amazing. I think it's important to obviously mention with foster youth, the lack of support oftentimes is what leads a lot of them to fall through the cracks. That is obviously why Promsies2Kids is around. Talk about some of the programs that you guys offer.
There are a multitude. So we're here, obviously with the LGBT plus group, but if we've got Guardian Scholars, we've got Camp Connect, I believe it is, and that helps foster children that were separated at birth, their siblings. That helps them come back together. So they go to camp and they spend some time there, and it's kind of a way to sort of decompress and just act like family.
How important is it to have a support system, not only being in the foster program, but to, maybe struggle with identity or try to figure out who you are, and people who are within that realm that can then kind of help you navigate that?
Yeah, I think it's nice for the students to sort of see representation of themselves. In this group particularly, I grew up in a single-parent household. So, I started my first business when I was 23, and I've spoken with my mentee before. It's like, he thinks it's so casual that I was able to do that, but it was like, no, you just have to push yourself. And he was like, do you think I can do that? Absolutely. You could do better than I have.
You're working with all these foster youth. Really, for both of you, what's really the most, I guess, gratifying part of your jobs?
It's interesting. I think I've always been very much, I care about family organizations and whatnot, and it's hard to say that because the gratification, you feel selfish, but it's seeing the students progress and just, like I've mentored through other organizations as well, but with this one, we really have these relationships that we've developed. So it's just seeing them grow and graduate and move on to UCSD or wherever else they're planning to go. Yeah,
Brandy, what are some of the biggest challenges kids face throughout the foster program, or figuring out their identity?
Some of the biggest challenges we face is we don't have a lot of adult figures in our life, so we kind of just rely on our peers. But programs like Guardian Scholars kind of give us mentors and adults that we can rely on and kind of lean on and ask for support.
And you have some understanding of what you were experiencing?
Yeah, I feel like especially with the LGBT group, I haven't been able to find LGBT groups elsewhere, and being able to know oh, these other people with me, they've been in foster care, they're also part of LGBT, it just creates a stronger connection and a stronger bond, and it's nice having mentors that are LGBT that can kind of guide us what they went through as an LGBT professional.
Really just sort of shared experiences to kind of help you kind of reach your goals or where you're going. What do you plan to do in the future?
My end goal is I really want to create art for exotic animals. I'm a social practice art major, which is social advocacy and art. And I care a lot about animals just because they relate a lot to the foster youth story where they don't have voices.
How do people's paths change through programs like this, where if they didn't have it, where they would be versus where they are because they have it?
That's difficult to gauge, I would say. Yeah. I mean, I think or programs like this, you can't really even measure. I've been part of other organizations that, will find a homeless person or student, they're just out of the foster system, and then we've helped get them into the military. That's what their goal was. So it's kind of immeasurable, honestly, but you see the progression, and you see the graduating, and you see the career starting, and you see the families that they start, and they come back to Promises, and then they start volunteering as well.
Is there any numbers that show more people are able to go to college or to find jobs because they have programs like this?
Again, I think that's kind of immeasurable. I don't think that you can really gauge how many people are kind of lost to the streets, you know, without programs like this.
And very quickly before we go, how can the public support you and your organization and what you're doing?
So we're always looking for more mentors, particularly LGBT. This is a fairly new group, but we have others, you know, if you're not necessarily a part of that group of people, there are others. So Promsies2Kids.org, that definitely is a great place to start. If volunteering isn't necessarily in your wheelhouse, we're always looking for gifts. You know, there's always events and whatnot that can be sponsored. So.
All right, certainly a lot of people are going to appreciate all the work you're doing, from Promises to Kids. Brandy, Freddie, thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and we'll be right back here on the Fox 5 News at 1.